Let's talk about We Buy Houses investor offers that you're going to be receiving once you are appointed as the personal representative of your loved one's estate, and the potential costly mistakes.
So yesterday, I made a phone call and I spoke with an executor of an estate, and she thought that she had received a mailing from us. She had not, but in her conversation with me, she had mentioned that she was getting all kinds of offers and letters from various investors in San Diego, but that all of the offers were well below what she believed was the appropriate market value for the home.
Which of course they would be, because the investor's job is to get the home for the least amount of money so that they can then do whatever needs done, some repairs, and make a whole lot more money when they sell it.
Yep. And in my conversation, she thought that she had a letter from someone that she thought was a great choice. And I explained to her that that particular company was probably going to offer her a reasonable offer that would be probably low on the scale of market value. And then they were going to come in and likely say, hey, all these things are wrong with this home, and we need this much of a reduction in price. So,
Yeah.
it was an interesting conversation, but I wanted to talk about that a little bit today because I think that it's important that as an executor, administrator, or trustee, you understand that these offers that you're receiving from various investors are probably not at market value, and that you should have that value of the property assessed.
And consider what more you could get for the property if you have it on the open market for all investors or even traditional buyers with some cost-effective repairs for what they would pay for the property, and how many more tens of thousands of dollars you could make potentially for the estate. So that's our topic. We're going to dive deeper into that. I'm Kim Ward. I am the broker owner of Horizon Real Estate's Probate and Trust Help here in beautiful San Diego.
And I'm Ashley Rivera, Kim Ward's business partner and a real estate agent here in San Diego as well. We are Probate and Trust Help, and our purpose is to help clients with the sales process of probates and trust homes here in San Diego.
And I have been in this niche helping with these types of homes for over 20 years, dating myself.
And I have worked with Kim for about 10. So we want to talk about some big mistakes that you can make in the process of preparing to sell a probate or trust property. And this is the first one.
Mistake number one, thinking they're on your side. Investors may act very friendly and avoid pressuring you to begin with. They may exploit personal stories if you share things about your loved one, and they may exploit that and kind of then push it towards having a quicker, they call it simpler sale. And they may exploit getting you to sell the property for a much lower price than what it would sell for on the open market.
And they do that by trying to reach out to you as soon as possible so that they can diminish the competition by not having you put it on the open market. That means less potential buyers, probably not traditional buyers, probably just investors, even if the property could be sold to traditional buyers. And that's one of their goals, is to try and get you to sell to them for as little as possible.
And mistake number two that Ashley mentioned is believing their initial offer.
So what do we mean by that? Believing their initial offer is basically a way for them to provide you with an inflated offer and then come back later after they've viewed the home and say, oh, there's so many big problems here. We really need this, you're not gonna be able to sell this for more than $50,000 less, $20,000 less, $30,000 less, whatever it may be than what we originally offered you.
Like Ashley said, that the investors, after they do their inspections, will claim that there's all these things that need to be addressed that they weren't aware of when they gave their initial offer. I was talking with an executor a few years ago, and he was really considering selling directly to an investor, which he ended up doing. And he left at least $30,000 on the table because the investor, even though he had already been in the house before he submitted an offer to this seller, when he went back in, he said, "Oh, I wasn't aware it needed a new kitchen." It's like very obvious, it's a kitchen.
So something to talk about with that, all properties, once they are on the open market, are being sold as is. And it's one of those things that people come in and they see a home and they send over an offer, and then they may come back and say that it needs a new kitchen. And with investors, they're really going to push that, oh, you're not going to be able to sell this property for more than the offer we're providing because it needs a new kitchen. And that may not be the case. There are some people out there who want a home here in San Diego. There are many people who want a home in San Diego. And in that process, they're going to offer something more than what this very low offer may be that this investor is providing.
Like when I purchased one of the first homes a couple decades ago to raise my children in, the kitchen was ugly. I lived with that ugly kitchen for 10 years. I cleaned the grout, but it got us into a home. We were happy to have a home for our children that had many bedrooms because we had many children.
And the reality is that modern is beautiful and lovely, but it's not always necessary.
Yep.
And there are lots of people who live in a home that has not been updated. We see that all the time. Many of our clients' family members' homes have not been updated in decades, and they function just fine.
Yeah, you change out that olive green stove for black or stainless, and voila, it brings it up.
Yeah, but sometimes the olive green stove has functioned for the last 30, 40 years and continues to function.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, a new buyer may not want an olive green stove, but they're coming into the property, viewing it, and seeing what it is. They're not going to be surprised that there's an olive green stove. They've seen it already before they put in their offer.
Right.
They're going to take that into consideration when they are providing their offer too.
Yeah. So mistake number 2 is believing that initial offer.
The third mistake is a big one. This is signing whatever contract they provided you with without fully understanding that contract.
Wasn't it about 3 months ago, we received an offer on a huge fixer unit property in Ocean Beach. It's a beach area of San Diego. And it was on a different contract than the California Association of Realtors contract. Because this particular agent really worked in the commercial area of real estate and didn't have access to our highly vetted, attorney-approved contracts.
And also, we are covered by the insurance that we
Errors and omissions.
Exactly.
Insurance.
Our insurance covers us for the California Association of Realtors documents, but it doesn't cover us for whatever documents these were. They're personal.
Joe's documents. And I didn't want to read all of it. Well, I wasn't going to use it anyway. So we got them to go find some place where they could get the proper documents and resubmit the offer. And we got through that sale for our client and kept our client safe with the proper documentation.
So part of that is when you have an investor that's offering you something, they're going to come in with whatever contract they want to provide you with. And it may not be a contract that is easy to read or easy to understand. They can change whatever lingo and jargon they would like. So one of the ways that we protect our clients is to use the California Association of Realtors legal documents, because it protects us, it protects them, and it prevents all these issues regarding footnotes and
just as important, we know those documents versus some other commercial document that I didn't want to have to read and understand. I wasn't involved in a particular transaction that a personal representative accepted a contract. He thought that in the contract that the tenant would be able to stay through the sale, and then the tenant would basically become the responsibility of the purchaser, the buyer. Well, he found out after he had signed those documents that he had to get the tenant out of the house. And it cost him, I think, $5,000 to actually get the tenant out because he signed a contract that he didn't fully understand. So it's things like that to just be aware of.
So with that, you want to know who drafted the contract. Can you back out of the contract? And are there any penalties for you as the seller or the non-performing buyer if they choose to cancel the contract? All of these are things that we make sure that we are aware of because we know these documents, and we ensure that we have them written and our counteroffers are written in a way that protects our clients and that they are fully aware of all the details in those contracts. Okay, mistake number 4 is assuming you're dealing with the actual buyer. There's a whole subgroup of individuals who basically broker a property. They go in and they submit offers, and then they sell that property off while they're still in the process of contract with the purchase that they're making. They sell that property off to somebody else for more money.
Yeah. Acquisitions.
Acquisitions, yes. They're called, as I was going to say, they're called acquisitions. And, it's a system for them to find buyers, but they also make a significant amount of money in the process.
Okay, story. Property in El Cajon, put it on the market. We were representing the seller, accepted an offer, and this is when I first learned, this is probably at least 10 years ago, I first learned how all this really works. We opened escrow, I thought everything was good, and then because we have these specialized lock boxes, I kept seeing it open and people going into the house over and over again. And I found out that the buyer was brokering this property for a higher price to investors, probably very new investors, that went to his seminar. And that wasn't good because I don't want to be involved in selling a property for X amount of dollars and then find out it got turned during that time, and they weren't disclosing any of this either, for $25,000 more. I want to get that $25,000 for my client. Long story short, the whole thing fell apart and we started over, and I learned a valuable lesson.
And, there's also a legal issue to this in that the protection for our client's property is really up in the air when someone is just bringing whoever they want into this property over and over and over again. I think that we had probably, 5 to 10 showings in a matter of 3 or 4 days for that property whenever they were doing that. It was a lot. And so they were going in and out of this property constantly. So now, we ask questions when somebody is entering a property, or we ask for them to let us know when they are scheduling certain things so that we're aware when it pops up on our phone.
We get an email.
We get an app. We have an app that sometimes pings us, or on an email that, it tells us that somebody's in the property. We know why they're going in.
Yeah.
It's not a surprise.
And we're very careful about not getting caught up in some, I haven't since, right? We haven't had another problem since then. No. We get offers that they do say on them a person's name or a signee, but we never allow that to happen because, like I said, it's a big cluster.
Yeah. And, we treat your money like ours. That's what we do with our clients. For us, the highest and best offer is what we are aiming for.
At all times.
At all times. Always.
So with that mistake number 4, we were talking about investors flipping the property during the escrow period.
What to do instead of all of these mistakes and potentially working with an investor? We recommend that you hire a professional real estate agent to represent you in all transactions regarding the probate and trust property sale.
And if you're in the San Diego area, you talk with us. And we do, I always recommend that you interview 2 or 3 professionals just to see what the difference is. And if you can find a group, a team that actually knows and has a track record of helping with homes in probate, helping executors, administrators, or trustees with homes in a trust, that's even better because they'll be able to help you do a lot more of the things that need done when you aren't the actual owner of the property.
And they'll protect you with the right documents and the right moves and preparation of the property so that you get the highest and best offers.
and keep things as easy as possible for you. So if you are watching this and for some reason you did sell to a We Buy Houses investor, we'd love to hear your story, how it went. Because like we're sharing, we learned our lesson pretty fast, so we have limited experience of our clients actually selling for that below market value price. Those are, people that choose not to work with us because we're going to guide our clients to get the highest price, best terms offer.
So leave a comment below. We would love to hear what your experience was working with an investor. And don't forget to comment, subscribe, and hit that bell button.
And if you have questions, go ahead and put those in the comments. We do our best to answer all of them. And we'll see you next week.